everybody for coming. And Yael asked me to introduce the rabbi, so it's a distinct privilege for me to do it. Yael called me 2 days ago. She sent me a text on the phone. There's a party here, and Rabbi Mizrachi came. And what sold me to come here tonight was not the party. I go to a million parties. But when I heard Rabbi Mizrachi came, I said, I have to come to listen to him. I know Rabbi Mizrachi about 2 years ago. My father was nifter. A man came in, and I had to daven between Mincha Marav and the Young Israel of Briarwood. And someone said, the rabbi's going to come in and speak for a couple of minutes. He spoke for 2 hours. And I was like, when is he going to finish? But like the more he spoke, the more I said, he's real.
Make it real.
He doesn't hold back. And I heard him speak in Queens, and I became a quick fan of his from that time in Briarwood. And I spent many times downloading from Torah. He's on TorahAnytime.com, has a number of rabbis that you can listen to. He is one of the rabbis there.
DivineInformation.com, don't forget.
And also, he will tell you about Divine Information. Divine Information is his own website. And I personally have a lot of hana and pleasure in listening to him speak, when I'm in the car. And he talks about a variety of topics. He debated a priest, it was phenomenal how he ripped into him. And he talked about science, he talked about real things, about Gezel. He doesn't pull punches, and I like that in him. Many rabbis, they refrain. In today's world, rabbis will be on the sidelines. Few rabbis will actually go and tell people what they are. And he tells you if you're a Goslin, he tells you you're a Goslin, and he doesn't pull it. And I think that's what rabbis should do. And gives you a little thing in you over here. So I think you're going to enjoy what he has to say. And it's tremendous chizuk for me when he comes here to speak. He's just phenomenal. So hopefully he'll give you a question and answer period afterwards. Give a few minutes for questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Yael, for inviting me to your house to speak. A few weeks ago, I sent Yael a box with CDs. She put them around, and Baruch Hashem, I started to get some people from the area here sending me emails and questions and taking more CDs. And I brought you more CDs here, all free of charge. You can have as many as you want. And if we run out of them, I have more in a car. And most of them, as you can see, it's collections. You have many, many lectures on each CD, between 15 and 18 on each one. Most of the new cars of the last 4 years have MP3 player, so you can play non-stop, 25 hours each CD. And then you have the debate DVD with Hebrew subtitle. We just recently made Hebrew subtitle to it. And also Torah and Science in English, Torah and Science in Hebrew, and all the collections in Hebrew and in English, as I said. Please take advantage. I'm sure it's going to help you and benefits you. There's many topics that you can basically hear about. And tonight, since it's a lecture, live lecture, I would encourage each one of you to ask me as many questions as you have. I'd rather answer your questions. It's better than to just give you a lecture. If you want, I can start a few minutes to talk about general things, and then if you have questions, please feel free to ask. It's going to be better to make it questions and answers in different level, different topics. I don't mind. We'll go with your questions. The world, according to the Torah, is 5,772 years old. And I know that all of you heard millions of times that the world is millions of years old, billions of years old. There's all kinds of theories and lots of speculation. And if people know a little bit about science, they know that everything you ever heard, it's all based on speculations of certain and different scientists, which means they are using something that called speculative science. There's two kinds of science. There's objective science, things that can be proven, and speculative science, which means it's based on speculations. Every scientist brings his own speculation, and based on that they make all kinds of theories, and they come to an assumption, and then eventually they sometimes misleading the public by presenting it as a fact, such as the theory of the evolution of Darwin. One day a person come and he claimed that he has all kinds of assumptions that the human being came from the monkeys and all kinds of things like that. And he built a theory and he tried to present all kinds of species in nature and try to create a chain. And he himself said that you have to have a middle species. If you go from A to Z, it's not going to work. You have to prove that the development was constant over the years, and that middle species was never ever found. The followers of Darwin completely modified the theory of Darwin from A to Z, and what they teach today has nothing to do with what he said. This is just one example of speculative science. Nobody in a history ever brought a proof that there is any connection from the creation of mankind to the monkey. Just because their DNA is 99% similar doesn't mean that one came from the other. There are many, many species in nature that looks alike, but there's no indication that one came from the other. According to the Torah, the world is... Please come in, please. There's still some chairs here. According to the Torah, the world is only 5,772 years old, and I put in my website, for those of you who have the time to inquire about it, I put in my website 2 films by a very special, very famous scientist. His name is Robert Gentry. He's not a Jew, and definitely not a religious Jew. And he put out there 2 films. The Fingerprints of the Creation is proving all the theories of the scientific world one by one and criticize one after the other, and actually shows that the world is only a few thousand years old. Just like the Torah say, few thousand years old. The truth is that it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Some questions are not really relevant. They're not so important. Whether the world is 5,000 years old or whether it's 5 billion years old, it really doesn't matter. Because what really counts is from the first second that man stepped on earth, the first man, whoever he was, and now I'm talking without Torah now, common sense. One point there was a man, a male and a female, had to be 2, or maybe one came out of the other, and it started somewhere. Even for the ones who claim that the world is, based on the evolution or the Big Bang and all kinds of other theory, none of them gave the answer to the most important question. How was the beginning point? Nobody answered that. All the theories that you hear about, there are millions of theories, none of them have the answer. What was in the beginning? Who was the one who in charge of the beginning? For instance, the theory that everything is random. There was a random explosion. Did anyone ever saw a random explosion that created an image? I'll give you an example. If you take now 1,000 coins in your hands and throw them on the floor, will it create a picture of a person? If you throw them, if you try 1,000,000 times, will it make an image of a person? No. And if it would make something that looks like an image, to repeat it again will be impossible by throwing it randomly. And if it will happen, then you know someone is organizing it. Everything you see symmetric, everything that you see has a shape, everything that has a plan, that's an indication that someone is behind it. Nothing happens by itself. We never found in history any creation without a creator. And the more sophisticated is the creation, it indicates about the brilliance of that creator. That means it's not just another one. It's very, very clever creator. Plus, let's analyze for a minute the brain of a person. It's 10 trillion connection. In case you didn't know, if you take all the telecommunication companies in the world, all the telephone companies, all the cable companies, all the satellites, or every cell phone, all of them combined, will not be 1% of what a human brain, one brain has. How many connections in one brain? It's more than 100 times more than the entire network in the entire world. And that's one person. Now multiplied by 7 billion people, is it possible to claim that the brain of a person that is 80% water, gel, 80% of the size of an apple, 80% of it is water. So really the entire human being is 20% of an apple, which is like one slice. This is really what the person is all about. Now let me explain to you what I mean. The world made a huge progress in many fields, every generation. For instance, in medicine, in biology, in physics. The scientists continue to discover things and develop things and invent things and discover things that were in nature, but until a certain generation, nobody found it. That's a fact. No one can deny that medicine is keep developing and inventing all kinds of new things. Today they can take care of heart problems and all kinds of brain problems that nobody knew what to do 100 years ago. Today we have equipment, we have technology, things that we did not have 20, 30 years ago. Today we are saving life every minute of people all over the world thanks to these brains of these doctors and scientists and all these fancy people with the great skills that inventing constant things. But one thing is very interesting. Physically, humanity made a huge progress. But spiritually, nobody made even one step forward, any progress in the last few thousand years. The same philosophy questions, the same ideology questions, the same life and death question, the same issues that the Gemara, the Talmud is speaking about 2,000 years ago, apply 100% to today. Nobody made any progress in the psychiatrists, the psychologists, and all these fields that we are now trying to investigate who is the human being, what's this combination of body and soul. Nobody made any progress in that. You can see if you read all the questions that we have today in a Supreme Court, in every court all over the world, what's the point of life, what's the body and the soul, what does it mean feelings, love, all kinds of psychological problem, all kinds of different kinds of mental problems that people have. Nobody has the answer to them. Nobody understands how to solve this problem. Yes, some here and there, some medication, but nobody made any progress. Without the Torah, there's no way to understand the psychology of the human being at all. The only way to understand what a person is to learn what the creator of mankind has to say. Without it, there's no way. A person is a big mystery. Without the Torah, there's no way to understand. Now let me explain a little bit further what I'm talking about. The rule has to be as follows. I said before that there is a creation, so that means there is a creator. We don't have to know him. I don't know who made this standard. I don't know, maybe it's China, Mexico, who knows? I don't have to know. I can swear in my life that a human being made it. How do I know? Did I see him? No, it's common sense. It has a shape, it's round, it's tilted, it has solid legs. Somebody made a plan and built it based on his needs. What came first, the creation or the plan? The plan. First comes the plan. So if first there's a plan, then comes the creation. When the planner had in mind that he wants something, right? Did you ever see any creation, point one, ever in history, anywhere in the world, in any culture, in any country, in any language, any kind of creation that was made by anyone that did not have a purpose? One. Name one. Anything that was made, a chair, table, computer, cell phone, doors, chandelier, whatever you want. Did you ever find something that was made by someone without first having a purpose in mind? Whoever made that, why did he make it 4, 5 feet tall? Why not up to here? It would lose its purpose. If it would be up to here, nobody would be able to use it. If it would be straight, it wouldn't be comfortable because the person wants to read, so it has to be facing his face. And if it would have a very narrow leg, every little move it will fall. It's also defeat its purpose. Everything in life, based on the behaving of the creature or the creation, it indicates about its purpose. And remember, first came the purpose, then came the creation. So that leads us to the next point. if the most sophisticated creation is the world and mainly the human being, and his brain and liver and heart and veins and the nerve system and thousands of different systems in his body, and somebody made it, we don't know him yet, somebody made it. The question that we have to ask, that somebody who made the person, which is a combination of body and soul, spirituality and physics, it's a beautiful creation, a great machine with unbelievable abilities. Is it possible that the Creator made the human being without a purpose? Is it possible that he made him just like that for no reason? It's not realistic. There has to be a reason. So that leads us to the next question. What good is the answer that there is a purpose to the life of a human being without knowing what it is? Imagine you buy a laptop, and in a manual, instead of giving you instructions how to use it, they wrote, we forgot the instruction, but you should know that the laptop have a very serious meaning, a purpose. What does it help me? They give me an empty manual, please forgive us, we forgot the instruction book somewhere, we don't know where it is, but you should know that we made a computer with a great intention to help you. Oh, there has to be a plan. What does it help me now? I lost the purpose. Well, I lost the purpose means nothing for me. Is it possible that this Creator, which is so sophisticated, he puts us here with a purpose and never bothered to tell us the purpose? Nobody ever knew the purpose. Nobody knows what to do. So what are we living for? What's the point of living? Why dying? Why living? Why being sick? Why being rich? Why being poor? Get married, have children, not get married, suffer? What's all this? Has a reason, a purpose without any instructions? Of course not. Here comes Judaism into place. Up to now, it was common sense of every person, Jew, non-Jew, doesn't matter. Everyone asks these questions. Whether it's Arab, whether it's European, whether it's American, whether it's Israeli, they all have common sense questions. That's philosophy, about life, about the world. Here comes Judaism into place. And only Judaism, that's the point. There's 80,000 religions and cults that has different books, thousands, hundreds of thousands of books. Not one of them gave the answer to the question that Judaism speaks about openly. Not only that, in other religions and cults, it's against the law to ask questions. If you don't believe me, ask Christians that you know that go on Sunday to the church if they are allowed to ask questions about the New Testament. If they're going to ask one question, politely, they'll tell them it's not the point to ask. If they ask the second question, they already annoy them. And the answer would be, spiritual subjects are not open for debate. You're not supposed to ask questions about spiritual issues. This is faith, we have to believe, that's what God wants us, and that's it. And that's complete baloney. It's not true, because God says in the Torah, the opposite. I want you to ask all your questions. The whole Jewish Talmud is questions and answers. Any question in life that a person has, it's in the Talmud. Free choice, why righteous people suffer, why wicked people celebrate, why some people get married, why some not, what's going to be in the afterlife, what does it mean life after death, what does it mean heaven, what does it mean hell, what's happening there, everything. There's not one question in the Torah that in life of a person that a person asks that Judaism doesn't have the answer. Not one, you never find. Any question you had to ask ever in your life, the answer is all in the Torah and in the Talmud. Why? God is interested to answer the dilemmas and the questions of every human being, Jews and non-Jews. Why? He's interested that they follow his book. He put them here for a reason, and he has to give them the instruction that they'll be able to succeed. He won't supply them what they need to succeed. He won't have anything to complain to them later on. The whole Torah, it's a concept of a free choice. You should choose the good. You should follow my instruction. You should listen to me. I should reward you. I will reward you in your end. I will give you life of eternity, full of pleasure. I sometimes punish. What's this whole idea? If I don't have the instructions, if you come to a test and they don't give you the questions, and then I'll give you a pen to write, and then they come and claim, hey, you failed. You're not going to be a doctor. Why? Because you failed the test. But how am I going to pass the test if you never gave me the test? Or only 2 questions out of 200 were there. Or you never gave me a pen. Or you, instead of giving me 3 hours, you only gave me 1.5 minutes. So that's not a fair game. God, of course, is fair. At least like us, but much better than us. But at least like us. And we won't do such a thing. If I'm a teacher, I won't give my student 1.5 minutes for a test of 3 hours. I will give them the pen, I will give them the papers, I will give them the right questions, I will give them the right information for them to be able to pass. If not, what's the purpose of this test? It's all a lie. So that leads us to the next thing. The Torah come and claim that one time God gathered the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob 49 days after they came out of Egypt. They were slaves in Egypt for 210 years. He brought them to Mount Sinai, he gave them the Torah, and there was a public event. It wasn't somebody woke up and had a dream, oh, God spoke to me and made me a prophet. It's a very questionable point. To come and say that God came to you in a dream and gave you a book and you were the new prophet, how many fools you can find that listens to you? And even if they listen to you, they'll always have a doubt. Maybe you say the truth, maybe you're making it up. If you come and claim that God nominates you to be a leader or a prophet, and you don't have any witnesses to it, always in history people will have dilemma if to believe you or not. They will always do, but they will always have a doubt. Maybe I live in a lie. After I made a debate with this priest, I got thousands of emails from Christians, among them tens of priests. Thank you for saving our life, they wrote to me. Why? We always live with such dilemma. We were so in question. We had so many doubts. And finally you made it clear to us that we wasted our time. We never knew. We were afraid to stop. But after we saw, we know now Christianity cannot be a divine religion. How do we know Christianity is not divine religion? How do we know? It's very simple. We find human errors in a book. If we find human errors in a book, everybody understands God doesn't make human errors. If He created such a world, He has to know the details. If He doesn't know what I know, what kind of God is this? How can I rely on Him? So if it says that Lawrence is in Brooklyn in a book, can I rely on the rest of the book? If it says that Lawrence, instead of 5 towns, is in Brooklyn or in Queens, or it's in Manhattan, such human error in a book, is that leave any chance that this book is the book of God? One mistake like this, you don't need to read the rest. First page, it says such a mistake. Is there any point to continue to waste on this book? The answer is no. If you're clever, you won't waste another minute on it. Maybe you're curious, fine. If you open the New Testament, in Act 7, it says that the cave of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is in the city of Shechem, in Nablus. And everybody knows it's in Hebron. What happened to God? He doesn't remember where He buried the 3 top people He ever loved? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Adam is buried there. You know? So, such an important place, an historical place, that the Torah emphasizes and speak about, that Abraham bought it and it's in Hebron, and it's so many things in the Torah speaking about it, and the New Testament is supposed to be the continuation of the Torah, as they claim it's part 2. What happened to God? He doesn't remember where Abraham was buried? Of course, it's a human error. Human error? That's the end of this religion. Let's not waste another minute. Quran, just the same thing. What does it say in the Quran? That the mother of JC is Moshe Rabbeinu's sister, which means Moshe is the uncle of JC. How can Moses be the uncle of JC if he lived 1300 years before JC was born? It says Maria bat Amram, Maria, the mother of JC, they mixed her between Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron. Maria bat Amram. Such ridiculous mistake that I promise you, take every Jewish boy, 5 years old, 5 years old. Don't believe me? I'll call my son and ask him this question on the phone. 5 years old. Tell him, who was the sister of Moshe and Aaron? Miriam. This Mary, it's 1300 years later. How they made such mistake? So the person who wrote the New Testament not only was a human being like you and I, every average Jew already have a much higher level of knowledge than him. How can he claim it's from God when every page has so many human errors? This is just an indication how you know if their religion is real or not. So let's move on. Let's move on. So now we have a very interesting claim. We have a book that claims to be divine. How a person come to check if the book is divine or not? Who has an idea? I came here, I bring a book. Let's say this is the book. I say, ladies and gentlemen, God spoke to me. I'm the new prophet. Here is a book from God. Here, please copy it and follow the instruction. Any questions you have, come to ask me. Sounds very suspicious, but you are curious. Maybe there's 1% chance that I'm not a liar after all. So you read the book. How would you know right away if the book is divine or not? How do you know it's divine? How do you know for sure it's not divine?
If there's no contradictions, then it's divine.
Not necessarily. I can write a book with no contradictions. It's not the end of the world. You know? It's difficult to write a long book without contradiction, but it's possible. It's not that it's not possible. Just because the book doesn't have contradiction, it's still not an indication that it's divine. But you're right. If it has contradiction, then we know for sure it's not divine. But if it doesn't have contradiction so far, doesn't mean it's divine. There are certain things that makes a book divine. First, that the book is full of prophecies. Everybody understands. You can be a brilliant person. You can be 1,000,000 times smarter than Albert Einstein, and still, you don't know the future. Being a brilliant person has nothing to do with predicting what's going to be in 1,000 years from now, or even in 50 years from now, or even in 5 days from now, right? If I say now that in 21 days in Manhattan, on 5th Avenue, between 2 and 2:30 in the afternoon, it's going to be pink rain. Rain in a color pink. All the floors in Manhattan will all be pink. And it happened. That's a prophecy. Do you know any person that can predict such a thing? The answer is no. If somebody has such ability to tell you the future in the long run, and to be right once and again and again and again, hundreds of times, basically, in every chapter in the Torah that you open, in that chapter, I will find you at least one prophecy. One time I made that offer in one of my lectures. It was in Yonkers, and there was one Israeli guy, a real wise guy, and after hours of arguments about all kinds of things, when I say that, he jumped like he found a treasure. Kemotze shalal rav. He ran quickly to bring the Torah. I say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it. I hold you by what you say. He got the Torah. I said, open. I said, well, I hope I didn't get myself into trouble. He opened it up. The best page. I couldn't get a better page. Which page? Parashat Bechukotai. If you know a little bit about every verse, it's a prophecy. One after the other. After 6, 7 rows, I started to read. He said, okay, I surrender. I got the point. The argument was over. Go into the Quran. Can you find one prophecy there? Of course not. And don't tell me, yeah, Muhammad spoke about the end of time, because he copied some of it from the prophets. He himself wrote in his book, I did not come to say anything new that was not said before me. That's a verse in the Quran, which means God never told me the future. I'm not intending to be a prophet. So how they call him Prophet Muhammad if there's no prophecies in the Quran? And also the New Testament. Do you have any prophecy in the New Testament? The answer is no. 200 years after the New Testament started, the Christian church gambled, and they gave a prophecy that the Jews will never return back to the Holy Land. Never. And what happened? The Jews came to Israel and they created a state, and with millions of Jews there. So when we asked the Vatican, How do you explain the fact that millions of Jews live in Israel after you promised 1800 years ago that it will never happen? Their answer is, the Vatican does not recognize the state of Israel. Who cares now about the state of Israel? Nobody spoke about the state of Israel. We ask, how did the Jews return to the Holy Land with a state? Without a state, it's not relevant. So the answer was, they don't recognize the state of Israel. And of course, everybody understands there's no connection between the question and the answer. So let's move on. How do you know the book is divine? The answer is, first, it's full of prophecies. Second, it's full of divine knowledge. For instance, if a book that was given to us 3,332 years ago, how is it possible that in this book it says the number of the stars? There was no telescope, no NASA, no way to know the number of the stars. Nobody could predict that it's 1 in 18 digits. When up to 400 years ago, in a generation of Galileo Galilei, everyone was sure that the world has between 6,000 to 8,000 stars because there was no way to count more. You stand in a sunny day, in a clear night, and you count manually the stars, and it's between 6,000 to 8,000 stars. No more. There's no way to count more than that. And there is a book that was written thousands of years ago, and it says the exact number of the stars. How a person was able to know it? How does a person was able to write in a book the exact measurement of the cycle of the moon? The minimal cycle of the moon will never be less than 29.530590. 6 digits after the decimal point. The Talmud say the renewal of the moon will never, ever be less than 29.530590. And NASA and the German agency came with the exact same number with one tiny difference, 10,000 of a second. How in a primitive generation the book of the Torah and the Talmud is speaking about subjects like this? I give another example. 72% of the world is water. And there are billions of things moving in this water. Rivers, lakes, oceans, so many. And it's very deep, very, very deep. And in the Torah it says that the Jews are allowed to eat anything that have fins and scales if they live inside the water. We're talking species that lives inside the water only, not species that go in and out, that they can live on the land also. In and out, we are also in and out. People go into the water, that's nothing. Species who live only in water. If they have scales, they must have fins. You'll never find one that has scales without fins, which means if a Jew that's supposed to see 2 signs, fins and scales, if they bring him half a fish, only the front of the fish, without seeing the fins, he doesn't need the fins. He can count on the scales to make this fish kosher and to cook it. How? Because the Torah promised, if you saw the scales, be sure there were fins there. I created the world. I made all these species. I promise you, you'll never find one without. What kind of person can guarantee such a thing? Especially when, as we speak, there is always new species are created in the ocean constantly, every day, every hour. They all mix between them by a natural way or by an artificial way. Scientists are mixing all kinds of species. Nobody can ever create one with scales that does not have fins. This is promises that the Torah have now. There's thousands of examples like this, one after the other. One other way to prove that the Torah is divine, the Torah has hidden codes inside. What does it mean, hidden codes? I can be a spy in Iran and send my commander in the United States secrets of the atomic nuclear place by planting it inside my story that every 50 letters we count. We start with the 50th letter, we circle. We count another 50, we circle the 100. We count 50, 150, 200, 250, 300, etc. And then the rest of the story is just a cover-up. We don't care about the rest of the story. I woke up, I went to school, I missed the bus. Nobody cares about it. It's all nonsense. It's just a cover-up. My commander, when he gets the letter, he will know the secrets that I'm giving him about what's happening there. For that, you don't need to be God. You can plant it in a mathematical way, which is no problem. The problem is that the Torah did it 3,300 years ago, and everything that the Torah spoke about happening in our time, now, as we speak. The Torah gave information about George Bush, Saddam Hussein, the Gulf War, Menachem Begin, Yitzhak Rabin, anything you can think of, AIDS. So many things. Incredible things. And they're all planted inside the Torah in equal minimal mathematical skip. I'll give you an example what it means code. You take the Torah and you count from the first word, Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elokim. You take the taf of Bereshit, you circle it. You count 49 letters, you'll get Vav. You count 49 letters, you get Resh. You count 49 letters, you get Torah. Torah in equal mathematical skip of 49. You go to Sefer Shmot, Exodus, Ve'ele Shmot Bnei Israel. From the Shmot, you circle the taf, you count 49 letters, Vav, 49 letters Resh, 49 letters Hey, Torah. You go to Sefer Vayikra, the name of Hashem, Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey, in equal skip of 7. You go to Bamidbar, Numbers, you go Torah in equal skip, 49 from left to right. You go to Deuteronomy, Dvarim, again Torah in 49 from left to right. So the center of the world is God. From the side, it's like a menorah with 5 candles. The center is the name of God, and the other two is aiming towards the middle, is the Torah of God, in equal mathematical skip. Now, I'll give you an example. When the Torah described that God created Adam and he put him in the Garden of Eden, that chapter has more than 40 words hidden inside the text about the names of all the fruit and the trees that we know. All of them in equal skip in one page in the Torah. A chapter that the Torah is speaking about all kinds of forbidden relation of the wicked people in Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom and Amorah. In that chapter, the word AIDS is hidden in equal mathematical skip for this kind of sins. Everything that we find in the Torah, it's very interesting. It relates to the topic that the Torah is speaking about. Let me give you an example of what...
It's a word in English and not in Hebrew. AIDS.
AIDS, there's only one word.
It's a word in English.
You know who invented the word?
But it's not a Hebrew word.
I got it. You know who invented the word AIDS? You know who? A good friend of mine. Professor Aryeh Rubinstein from Einstein Hospital, Israeli. So it's an Israeli word. Of course, it's English. Don't get me wrong. But some words are international words. There's no other word for that. AIDS, it's an international word. All over the world, it's a name. It's like George Bush. Yes, it's an American name. But even in Hebrew, it's George Bush. Aleph, Yud, Dalet, Samech. AIDS. Yes, exactly. Now, why the name of God is Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey? Right? The answer is, the world, up to not a long time ago, the scientists were sure that the world was always exist. The world does not have a beginning and an end. It was always here. That's what the scientists claim. Recently, in the last 20 years, they started to realize it cannot be. And now more and more great scientists came with the conclusion, no, the world was created. The world had a beginning. And they came with all kinds of theories. The famous one is the Big Bang. There was an explosion, everything expanded, and now we have this beautiful world. So the world was created, but by whom? They did not give the answer. We opened the Torah describes who created the world. Now everybody asks, who created God? Based on that everything has a beginning and an end, so who created God? The answer is God was always existed, always. How can it be? Very simple. It sounds very complicated, but it's much, much more simple than what it sounds. That concept, that idea that everything has a beginning to an end only exists where time exists, when it relates to material. Time only exists where material exists. If there's no material, there's no time. Only when you have material, you have a beginning and an end, and you have the time that we know, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, etc. In a spiritual world, the time here means nothing. There is no time, because only where material exists, that's where time connects to material. And that's what Albert Einstein said. He got a lot of credit for it, but the Ramban, 750 years ago, say it way before Einstein. 700 years before Einstein, Ramban spoke about it. The Torah knew about it. Time only exists. God is 100% spiritual. There's no material in God that you can give him a smack and feel a noise. There's nothing. It can go as much as like a soul. Soul. It can be a soul right here now in space. You don't see it. You cannot touch it. There's no material. There's no material. Many people die what we call clinical death, temporary death. And all of them, Jews and non-Jews, more than 30 million. There are much more than that the rest didn't bother to come and report. Just in the United States alone, 8 million people reported that they came out of their body and watched the entire event by flying below the ceiling. The body is here, the doctors are trying to save his life, they're giving him shock, the ambulance, the nurse. Everything that happened in the 10 minutes that they were dead, later when the soul entered back into the body, they describe everything they saw. Even that the body did not have brain waves, no pulse, no heartbeat, no breath, no feelings. Let me make it more clear. A person is dead 10 minutes. According to science, once a person is dead for more than 6 minutes, even if he comes back to life, his brain is wiped out. Cannot remember his name, cannot remember anything. Why? It's a permanent damage to the memory cells. But today we find, and the doctor don't have an answer, we don't know how to explain it, many people, Jews and non-Jews, that are dead for more than 6 minutes, and they come back to life, and they are normal, they remember everything. They can recognize everything, they remember everything. Now it's very interesting. When a person is dead, if you take a cigarette, he's 10 minutes dead. His body temperature is dropping now. Another degree, another degree. You take a cigarette and you burn him. You don't hear anything. It doesn't make a beep. 10 minutes later, when he comes back to life, he begins to scream. He feels the burning. Why in 10 minutes that you're burning him or pinching him or smacking him or giving him, you didn't hear. When you give him the shock, why he doesn't scream, "Aye"? You know what it is? What a shock is this? The body is jumping in the air 1 feet from the shock. For a person, I sometimes get shocked in the winter time where the rugs are. I scream, "Ah!" Imagine what a shock. The body doesn't make a beep. Later, when he comes back, he feels all the pain. The pain of the accident, the pain of the surgery, everything. Why he did not feel anything? Because the soul was out of the body. Once the soul disconnects from the body, you cannot feel anything in the body. Your memory doesn't work, your conscious, your subconscious, everything is dead. The soul goes right back in. It's like a phone that is dead. You plug it into the electric, it begins to work. You disconnect, there's nothing. The phone has no reaction. So the energy that moves the body, of course, is the soul. I'll give you another example that in spirituality, time does not exist. And that's what confuses a lot of people. One guy named Moshe went to sleep exactly at midnight. Midnight, he went to sleep. And then what? 12 o'clock, he went to sleep. 12:03, he got up. 3 minutes. He didn't even start snoring. He got up. He started to cry. He's all shaking up. His wife, "What happened, Moshe? Relax. Here, take water. Relax. What happened?" Don't ask. What a dream I had. He began to describe a torture that took 6 months. 6 months. I got caught in the middle of the ocean, the boat broke, I fell, hundreds of sharks. Then one shark came and attacked me, he bit my leg off. I was all bleeding, all the water was red. And then some people came and saved me, but in the end they were Arabs. And then find out I'm Israeli, so they took me to Saudi Arabia and they tortured me there. For 6 months, Muhammad was beating me up, mentally making me crazy. And then after telling a story that took him probably 3 hours, his wife asked him, Moshe, I don't understand. You're only sleeping for 2.5 minutes. How 6 months enter in 2 minutes? Right? Did you ever ask this question? How? It has to have a time period. He's describing conversation he had with this Muhammad hundreds of hours in the last 6 months. Where hundreds of hours enter 2 minutes? The answer is, when the soul separates from the world of material, time is different than here. It doesn't exist. And that's like a simulation. You know, like the Israeli pilots, when they teach them how to fly, they put them in a simulator. I saw it in my own eyes. It's a little box room, a very, very expensive one, very sophisticated. They put their helmet, they connect, everything like exactly like inside the plane. And then you, from the outside, you see it moves. It has all kinds of things. It moves it. And you hear all kinds of noise. And when the pilot comes out, you should see how he sweat. You should see the lines the helmet make on his face. His face red like a tomato. And he has lines. It's like somebody took a knife and cut his skin. And he hardly walks. He comes. He sits on a chair. You have a cigarette for me? I have to relax. Why? It was all an illusion. He was sitting in a room. He wasn't in G-force, missiles, attacked. But they make it so real that he felt 100% that he was in combat. And that his life was in a risk. He was screaming, was vomiting, everything you want real. This is exactly what heaven and hell is. If you ever wonder, how can it be the body goes to the grave? The religious people claim there's heaven and hell. Christians adopted that idea. Muslims adopted that idea. Many other cults who came after Judaism.
Adapted, but with 70 virgins.
That's a modern edition. An upgrade. An upgrade. Imagine when they see Arafat and Yassin come to instead of the 72. What a disappointment they're going to. You know. All right. No. So anyway, thank you. So anyway, so what's happening here now? What's happening here? Remember, time only exists where material exists. And heaven and hell, what is it? Whatever God wants us to feel. He doesn't need the body. Some people ask how the body can suffer if the body is in a grave. Fine, the soul went up to heaven. But the body is right here in a grave. How the body is burning like you claim? Heaven, hell, all these things. Where? The answer is you don't need body for it. Did you ever had a dream that inside the dream you felt that you're falling or you're burning and you got up and you scream, wow, it killed me, wow. You didn't need the body for it. It's 100% real. All the feelings that we have, it's all in the soul, not in the body. The body is a bunch of molecules. It's all material. It's like this wood. The wood doesn't have feelings. Everything that is raw material doesn't have a spirit, doesn't have a nefesh. But everything that is growing, plants, trees, animals, and human being has a spirit, has nefesh. Nefesh is half material, half spiritual. And then there is the ruach, and then there is the soul. And then this divine soul that we talk about so much. So far, any questions about what I said before I move on?
I have one question.
Yeah.
How come all those miracles that you have only happened 2,000 years ago? And that's it. Like God restricted all those miracles and all those history only for those short time.
You're right.
That time, in 4 days,
yes.
No miracles, and try to split the sea. And also, I want to ask him, how could it be that the Mizrachi says that when Het and Suf was split for 12 tribes? One said was 12 tribes. The other one said was going straight. So how could it be? Either was 12 tribes. Has to be one way. With you, there's only one.
Right.
So how could you have all this theory, all this mahlakot,
Right.
all this disagreement with each other?
But
this is only one way.
But you have now two questions. I should start with the first or the second? Which one I should start?
It's together.
Okay.
It all comes to miracles.
All right, let me answer first question first. Let me answer first question. Okay, shh. You started to ask a question, everyone thought it's a timeout. All right. The answer is that before I answer you the first question and then the second question, first I have to ask you a question. How do we know, Bichlal, that all the miracles that we speak about in the Torah really happen? Maybe it's all a story. You went too far. You already agreed that it happened 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and how come today doesn't agree? I'm asking further. How do you know it's not stories?
Did you get my question?
Oh, no, I got your question, but I'm asking you now a question.
But that's what it says.
Yes.
It has nothing to do if we agree or don't agree, but that's what it says.
Okay, I got it.
Saying, how come it's only those miracles like God were able to do it?
Got it.
Century.
All right,
and the
got
other
it.
days, we don't see it.
Okay, so in my film right here, Torah and Science, I answered your question very, very well. Now the time is limited, so I'll answer you in a minute or two. You have to understand, first of all, that all the miracles that describe in the Torah for sure happened. How do we know? For sure. You and I didn't see it. We read about it in a book 3,300 years later. How do we know for sure it happened? I'll tell you how. If I came now and gave you a book about you and all the audience here, everything that happened to you in the last year, everything, what you did, what you ate, the miracles what happened to you, what happened in a war, the ocean split, like you say, you came out, bread is falling from heaven. I'm telling you what happened to you, not to your fathers and grandparents, to you, live, in the last year. What does it take for you to take my book and throw it to the garbage and know I'm a liar? What does it take? Only one mistake. If I'm telling you that you have bread falling from heaven and you don't have, right? Then you know this is not the book from God. God didn't give these mistakes. If everything in the book is true, you're willing to accept the book. It says here that I was in Egypt, it's true. It says God split the ocean, we went through, the Egyptians drowned. I confirm it happened. It says here that we get bread from heaven, it's true. It says here that we have water going with us, it's true. It says that the children do not have to replace their clothes and their shoes going with their feet. It's true. There's 100 miracles. If one of them did not happen, the Jews would raise their hand to Moshe and say, Mr. Moshe ben Amram, thank you very much for trying to fool us. You just claim God gave you this book? What is this nonsense? It says here all these things. It didn't happen to us. You're telling me God gave you this book? What? God is lying to us? God is telling us stories that never happened to us, and He expects us to believe that it happened to me? I know what happened to me and what did not happen to me. But the best is that in the book it says, all of you, with no exception, heard me and God speaking live in front of you. What can be a better proof than this? I'm coming here and giving you a book. You must follow this book. You must obey the rules, Shabbat, Tefillin, Kasher, modesty, everything. You tell me I'm not interested. Leave me alone. I say you don't have a choice. Here is the book, read it. You open the book and you read that me, the one who just gave you the book, and God spoke 10 minutes ago in front of your eyes. If it didn't happen, you agree to become Shomer Mitzvot, to observe what the book says? Not only you will not become religious, you'll kill me in a minute. Why would you kill me? Why, every liar has to be executed? No. It's too much of a punishment for a liar. Let's say I'm a professional liar and I try to trick you. Hope that you will not pay attention to the details. And now you caught me. You read that me and God spoke, and you know it didn't happen. It says here that you heard me speaking to God, and you know you didn't hear. You tell me, hey, take your book and get out of here. Why you would kill me? How I'm so sure that if it would happen, you would kill me. You know why? because Moshe brought them laws that were really, really very deep and very dangerous laws for them. I'll give you an example. Moshe said, he gave them the book, and said, God gave me the book. If they would prove that this book is not from God, they would ask Moshe, why did you come to ruin our life? What did we do to you? You want to be a leader. You want us to give you money. You want to be famous. You want us to follow your instruction. No problem. But why you make us divorce our wife and leave our children lonely? Where does it say it in the Torah? ערווה דודתך לא תגלה, דודתך היא. If you marry to your aunt, you cannot touch her anymore. She's forbidden. Up to now, you can marry your aunt. Now, new rules. Everything is changing. I'll give you another example. Moshe Rabbeinu's mother and father, Yocheved, is the aunt of Amram. So even it's going against his parents. But it gets even better. Moshe gives them the Torah, and they say now, they prepare a lot of meat. All the meat they prepared, they killed with a regular knife. They slaughtered the animal with a regular knife. They didn't know you have to check the knife in the sun and make it sharp, and you have to check the long. They didn't know there's laws yet. So they prepare thousands of cows. Each cow today, it's more than $5,000. Multiply, how many, you need thousands of cows to feed millions of people in a holiday of Shavuot. So Moshe brought the Torah. All the cows has to go to the garbage. Now remember, there was no Muhammad and Mustafa to buy it halal meat. No halal meat. You're in the middle of the desert now, and there's no refrigerator. What do you do with all the meat? Throw it to the dog. What do you do? So now, you giving me a book, making me lose millions of dollars. Why should I listen to you and cooperate with you? Only one answer. Everything that the book say happened to me. If one word here was not 100%, they would make a celebration. And you would never know that there was a person named Moshe in a history. For sure you would never know. And Judaism would not start. And we wouldn't be here. And many other things. So that's the proof. And there are many, many other proofs. I don't have the time. The rest is in my film. That really all these miracles really happen because they confirm that it happens by accepting the Torah. So why today we don't have these miracles? The answer is we definitely have. But the miracles are performed in a different way than before. And let me explain to you what I mean. In the time when the Torah was given to the Jews, Hashem made clear miracles and he told the people, I'm going to do A, B, C for you. And everyone was waiting for the miracle and they saw that it happens. Like Moshe take a piece of a stick, a wood, a branch, and he throw it into the water, dirty water, and all the water gets clean, and everyone drink. And Moshe told them, this is what I'm going to do, and they all saw it. Or, don't worry, God will give us bread. Or, don't worry, birds will come and we'll be able to eat meat. Everything was pre-announced. Today, nobody announced any miracles, but there are much, very big miracles today, just as much as they were there. I'll give you one example. About 17 years ago, 16 years ago, I have the video if you don't believe me. In Chag Sukkot, in the holiday of Sukkot, 20,000 religious Jews, male, female, old people, children, gathered in the western wall, in the Kotel HaMa'aravi, in Chol HaMoed Sukkot, for Shachrit, with lulavim, etrogim, everyone. The Arabs, 1 month before Sukkot, prepare barrels full of rocket, each stone the size of a melon. Not little stones. Big stones, rocks. Hundreds of Arabs were waiting from the morning that the Jews will fill up the western wall. This is about 60 feet high. When you take a rock the size of a melon and throw it from the 5th or the 6th floor on an ocean of people, what happens if it falls on someone's head? It kills him immediately, and also kill the one next to him because it hits his head and go to the other person's head. They both can die with one rock. If you throw 10,000 rocks on 20,000 people that cannot move like sardines, there's no place to run. You should have at least 1,000 dead people. But not only you should have 1,000 dead people, when people see that the rocks are falling, they begin to run. Now what happened when 20,000 people begin to run? Children are falling, old people are falling, they go on their head. Everyone should almost die and get injured. 20,000 people got thousands of rocks on their head, not one person died. In the end, it shows in a film of Rabbi Uri Zohar, it shows it live, how it happened. You see all the rocks are falling, and everyone screaming and running. And then they showed the floor. You couldn't have 1 foot without rocks on the floor. Not one person got killed. What do you think this miracle is smaller than the ocean splitting? It's just as good, or maybe even better. But nobody came and said, this is the miracles I'm going to do to you. I'm going to give you another example. For 20 years in Israel, they made a new gas terminal. They made everything new. Generators, pipes, everything. And for 20 years, the gas company of Gush Dan, which is Tel Aviv, Bat Yam, Rishon, Kfar Saba, Netanya, maybe 30 cities connected to this gas pipe, the main one. They refuse to move. They say to move the whole operation to the new place, it's going to cost millions, it's not comfortable, all kinds of things. 20 years they're arguing, to move, not to move, to move, not to move. In the end, they say, okay, we're moving. They shut the main gas pipe, and they moved to the new place. And exactly 1 week after, Saddam Hussein shot 39 missiles in Israel. Each missile is more than 50 feet long and almost the size of this room. It's a huge missile. Missile, like, it's not little tiny missiles. It's Scud missile. It filled up a whole semi-trailer. One of them fell directly on the gas station over there. If they would not move, more than 1 million Israeli will be burned alive that day. More than 1 million would die. After 20 years of argument, a week before, they moved. I'll give you another example. September 11, 9 o'clock in the morning, a plane hit the first building, and a few minutes later, a second building. There's an Israeli company named Kur. They have 300 employees, all Israeli Jews, working in September 11. 1 week before the terrorism attack happened, they moved to New Jersey. After many, many years they were there. If they would not move, all 300 of them would die because they're way above the thing. All the people above the crash, they all died, unfortunately. And one other thing happened. All the religious Jews from Flatbush, from Borough Park, from Monsey, they all work. Hundreds of them works in the building in the top floors. They all were late half an hour to work because there was slichot. Slichot. If not, you would have 1,000 Jews dead that morning. But this is another big miracle, but nobody gives credit. Believe me, if you listen to half of my lecture, not all of them, I bring in my lecture, in the last 10 years, hundreds of huge miracles that nobody see. Now the question is, I still have to answer, why it's not in public like it was? It's still a good question. The answer is, there's a verse in the Torah. God said that at one point in history, Aster astir panai mehem, I will hide myself from the Jewish nation. Everything will be from behind the scene. It's all going to be open to interpretation. Yes, from God, not from God, nature, coincidence, all kinds of things.
Is it pasuk?
It's pasuk, Aster, bayom hahu, Aster astir panai, al ki yomru en Elokim bekirbenu. That's the one of the, by the way, you should know that over there you have the word HaShoah, Holocaust, in equal mathematical skip of 49, and that pasuk in the Torah, Hashem say, al ki yomru en Elokim bekirbenu. They betrayed me. The Jews betrayed me, and they say God is not with us. So what's going to happen? I really won't be with them. And that day I will not be there. And I will close my eyes for what's happening there. And that's, by the way, one of the answers. How really it was no, you couldn't believe that people can do such things and there's no interference for a few years. And there's many other reasons, but that's not the topic right now. So there was the answer to your first question. Now repeat your second question. What was the second question was what? So you understand, there are miracles, but they are hidden inside the creation. And one more reason for it, by the way, you should know, but in the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu and the generation of three...
And the second question was...
How come there is contradiction? Okay, so...
Every miracle, it says when you read the Haggadah, it says, Alayam, Lakum,
Yeah.
Hameshmot.
Yeah.
And there is, so what all these things, there are, and some of them disagree, some of them made the...
Yeah, let me...
The Kriyat Yamsuf was this way.
Yeah, got your question.
So how it happened? How could you have in a Torah Sheba'al Pesach such a disagreement, and you say, Ele v'ele divrei Elokim hayim?
Right. First of all, let me explain to you that there are hundreds of books who explain how the Gemara and the Torah Sheba'al Peh, how come there is contradiction. But you have to know there's different kind...
The whole Talmud is the whole thing is like one says Asur and the other...
Right. So there's different...
Like it says in Shabbat. המחבק את הנר מפני שמתקרא מפני גויים, אז פטור. היום אוסרים מפני שעושה פחם.
Got it. Okay, I got the
question. It must come from God. It doesn't come from people. So how do you disagree with the word of God?
Maybe I need some air here. All right. So, okay, now the answer is like this. There's few different kinds of contradictions. Different kinds of contradiction. Toda. There's contradiction in halacha, allowed, not allowed, mitzvah, sin, deserve punishment, deserve a reward. There's a lot of arguments. And there is arguments in reality. What really happened? It's two different kinds of contradictions. So, first let me explain to you, let me first ask you a question. Why God made the Torah in such a way that the Chachamim will determine...
I don't say Torah ציווה לנו Moshe. We never say Torah ציווה לנו God.
No, wait.
Because the Torah של some Moshe. Doesn't say anything about God. It's a spiritual thing.
Let me get...
Right.
Okay. הגזמת. יותר מדי, אתה הולך בלי הפסקה. בסדר, אתה לא נתת לי עוד צ'אנס לענות אפילו. ישר אתה ממשיך נאום בזה. סבלנות. בסדר, זה השיטה הישראלית, אבל זה לא, אנחנו בלורנס. אורייט, נו. אוקיי.
השיטות התימניות.
כן, בסדר, הבנתי כבר. הבנתי. זה הכל עזרה השם. יבין. טוב, תשמע טוב, I'll answer you. So the answer is, first of all, it's not Moshe, it's Moshe and the Chachamim. Right? We see that Moshe was somech his Talmid Yoshua. Right? And plus, we have the order who passed the Torah to who. And third, you cannot understand one pasuk, one verse in the Torah without going to the oral Torah. Without the oral Torah, there's no way to understand the written Torah. Plus, the Torah says, "Vaya bayom ha'u." If you're going to have a question in the future, "Uvata el hakohen ve'el hadayan asher be'ircha," you can see it is in Parashat Shoftim. If you have a question and you come to the Kohen and to the Dayan is a judge in a Beit Din, or people who know Torah, ושאלת אותם, ודרשת, you ask the questions what to do, what not to do. Everything they're going to instruct you based on my Torah, not based on medical school or Harvard or law school, no. Based on this Torah. Can be a rabbi, can be also a doctor. If he uses medical information, you don't have to listen to him. You can go to second opinion, no problem. You want a different doctor, you move to a different doctor. Everything they're going to instruct you based on my Torah, you must listen to them. Do not move left or right from what they're going to tell you. And if you're going not to listen to them, you ignore their instructions, what's the punishment for that? Go to Parashat Shoftim and read. I give you a hint. The worst punishment you can think of. The worst. Nothing is worse than that. So God say, let me give you an example what it means. I came to you today and I say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the new president of Microsoft in New York. You know right away, cannot be this guy, you know. How can it be president of Microsoft? So I come to you and say, make me coffee, please. Please make me tea. Please make sure nobody comes in. You, next time, I want you to come an hour early. What happened? You call the security. Security come, say, take him to the mental institution. This guy needs a pill or a shot, no? The next day, after you kicked me from the door and I go like this and you hit me, get out of here. The next day I showed up. Who came with me? Bill Gates. Like this, his hand around my shoulder. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lawrence community, I'm very ashamed from what happened here yesterday. I sent my representative, the President Mizrachi here, and you beat him, and you kicked him, you called security. It's disgraced. I nominate him to be my representative in this company. Everything he tell you based on the book of law of Microsoft, which I wrote many years ago, you must listen to him. Do not move left or right from one word of what he say. You have a problem with him, you have a problem with me. Goodbye. Now I say to you, make me coffee. You run full speed. I tell her, make me tea. Yes, sir, please. No problem. I'm very sorry about yesterday. Stand by the door. No problem. What's going on? Please, please. I'm so sorry about yesterday. Please, make sure you don't take away from my salary. All of a sudden, everyone became nice. This is the difference. If Bill Gates wouldn't come with me, you're right, you kick me. Oh, the rabbis, they make up whatever they want. Who say I have to listen to them? Fine, I agree. But once God wrote in the Torah, every question you have in the future, you come to the top rabbis of the generation. Iftach bedoro, keshmuel bedoro. Iftach was the leader of the Jewish people, but he wasn't in the level of Shmuel HaNavi. Shmuel HaNavi is much higher level. Shakul keMoshe ve'Aaron. But Iftach, in his time, is just like Shmuel in his time. That's it. And you must listen to him. He's my representative here, because he's the top authority in Torah. So now, how come there are arguments? Thank you. How come there are arguments between Chachamim about reality? The answer, not everything they know. They don't know all the reality. No, they interpret the psukim. And also when it comes to halacha, one chacham say allowed, one chacham say not allowed. You're right. It's either allowed or not allowed in the opinion of God. It cannot be both, allowed and not allowed, and they both correct. I agree. But who cares what they say? The bottom line is, what's the halacha? Let me explain what I mean. God knew that there will be arguments between people and the chachamim about the truth of the Torah. A part of his plan was that the Torah will be in the hand of the people. That it's like giving you a raw diamond and you have to make it according to your knowledge, to your skills. So what's happened? God say, here is the Torah, here is the oral Torah, here is a Mishnah. Come on, argue, what's the truth? One say allowed, one say not allowed. In the end, the Talmud say, halacha like Rabbi Akiva. Finished. There is another opinion. Maybe when Mashiach come, we know that the other opinion was more correct. Did we violate the rules of God? No. Because God says, "Ve'aya ki yeh machloket," and it's going to be arguments between the rabbis. Some say allowed, some say not allowed. There are rules. I'm giving you rules. Acharei rabim lehatot. You follow the majority. That's it. If there is 2 against 1, we go by the 2. So God already told us there will be disagreement. No problem. We are people. We're not angels. We don't know anything. We know a little bit. That's it. But the top authority of the generation, I must listen to him. And the other ones say the opposite. Who is considered Yachid veRabim? How many say allowed? How many not? That's it. Plus, there is another rule. Aseh lecha rav. You have your own rabbi and you ask him the questions. What happened if the rabbi made mistake and he told you it's allowed and really it wasn't allowed? You're not going to be punished. You did what God said, finished. So all the questions that people have today, how do we know? He say this, he doesn't say this, he say that. All these arguments come from ignorance. If you read the Torah once in your life, you would know right away there's no problem, there's the disagreement. Because God already spoke about this disagreement. You know, you ask, where was God in the Holocaust? Why so many people ask this question? Because they never read the Torah. If you only read the Torah, you see that the Torah is describing the Holocaust in details. And also saying why there will be a Holocaust. So what's the question? I don't understand. If I write to you today, I'm giving you a warning. If one day you're going to do A, B, C, I will take revenge against you and punish you severely, and that's what's going to be the punishment. And you ignore my warning, and you did whatever you want, and then I sent you, God forbid, the punishment that I promised. Can it be a bigger chutzpah asking, where was I? Why didn't I save you from the tragedy? What do you mean? I sent you the tragedy. I warned you before. You want to be a goy? You want to call your daughter Christine? You want to call yourself Rosenzweig, Rosenberg, Miller, Katz, German names? You want to take the kippah off? You want to shave your beard off? You want to go to college in Berlin, in Hamburg? You want to drive your Rolls Royce on Shabbat? You want to sit in a court of Germany and decide against the Torah and send Jews to jail when they're innocent and send them free when they deserve execution? You go against me for hundreds of years. You marry the Goyim. You completely go against me for 100 years. And then when I give you the punishment that I warn you about, you're asking, where was I? That's not fair. It's not a fair game. The whole concept of Torah and life is reward and punishment. I know many people don't like to hear it because that's the nature of people. A person that is honest, he takes the bad with the good. He doesn't expect only to get good. He doesn't ask why I lost money. He doesn't ask why I'm sick. He asks, what did I do to deserve it? He asks himself, what did I do? Why God sent me this problem? Why I got this punishment? Why I lost this, why I did this, everything he asks. God, show me the way, show me why you're punishing me. Help me to correct, help me to be close to you. Find me somebody that I can learn with him Torah, that I can become a better Jew, that I can follow your instructions. I have all kinds of doubts. Show me where the answers are. Someone who's really, really looking for the truth, it takes less than an hour to prove. I had a debate with the controller of New York State, Alan Avesi. He came to my lecture in Great Neck. You should see it's in my website. It's called Less Than 1%. That's the title of the lecture. Professor for history, all the money of New York State for many years is 100% in his hand. The union, the police, the fire department, New York City, the mayor of... Everyone is under his signature. All the money is in his hand. Very big power. And also a very smart Jew. Sometimes you meet politicians, my shoe is smarter than them. But this one was a bright man, I admit. Very clever, a brain focusing, and 68 years old. He asked a lot of hard questions. And he came as completely atheist. No, doesn't believe in anything. After 45 minutes of questions and answers in public, then he let go. By the end of the lecture, I came to him and said, no, well, Mr. Avesi, what do you have to say now? He said, I still have some doubts. So I told him, you see, we made a great progress. You came here, zero belief. Now you have some doubts. Let me sit with you one-on-one and clarify all your doubts. He said to me, of course, why not? I thought he's being polite. Politician, polite, come from the same word. Trying to be polite. What is he going to tell me? No, I don't have time for you. Believe it or not, 10 days later, his representative called me, no, where do you want to sit? I said, tomorrow in Kolbe restaurant in Main Street. Maybe we'll put him out of business. I sat there for 3 hours in the afternoon to the evening, one-on-one. Many questions. He came, stories, he told me, I told him. By the end of the 3 hours, he got up, and believe me, that's a very smart person. Top I met in 17 years that I meet people, can put him in the top 1%. And he said, that's it. There's no more comments to make. I never believed, he said. Here, it's recorded. You can go and ask him. He's a public figure. I never believed that it's possible to prove the Torah 100% that it's from God. I wish I saw it 40 years ago. I said, it's still not late. He said to me, I'm a lost case already, my age, this, that. Started to give me all kinds of excuses that why it's too late for him. I told him as long as a Jew is alive, he can correct. Even the last day of his life, he can make a change. Of course, it's very difficult to correct 60 years of sins in one day. We have to be rational and reasonable. But there is a huge difference between a secular Jew that died wicked, Mechalel Shabbat, hates the Torah, hates the rabbis, hates religion, hates charity, hates Torah, hates everything that smells like Judaism. But there's a person who says, God, I admit my life was wrong. Didn't know. Now I finally begin to see the proof. I didn't know that. But now I don't have the strength to change. I can do a little bit, eat kosher, try to keep Shabbat, tefillin. But I'm not going to be like the 20 years old that become religious, go to yeshiva, comes a few years later like rabbis. It's too late for me. But the person made some change, 10% change. He dies, he goes in front of God to his trial. 1 year trial, that's why we say Kaddish for 1 year on the people, the deceased people. Why do you think we say Kaddish for 1 year? Coincidence? Why not 1 month? Why to bother the children 1 year to come Kaddish from morning to night, another time? For 1 month is enough. Kaddish 1 year because the trial is 1 year. Why we sit Shiva 7 days? Why not 30 days? Why not 1 day? Why not 2 days? Because the soul gets permission to travel from the grave to the house for one week, 7 days. Yes.
Isn't there no time in the spiritual world?
Everything is like here because you are judged based on your action in this world, so the judgment is based on here. And also remember what I said, the assimilation, the simulator, God decide how many years the punishment will be, even though there's no time. It's like in a dream. A dream is only 2 minutes. The longest dream is 9 seconds, the scientists say. 9 seconds, that's it. 9 seconds is the dream. They connect all kinds of wires to the heart, to the brain, and they feel that the person begins, the pulse go fast, and the brain, there's some reactions over there. 9 seconds, a person gets up, scream, and in 9 seconds, 6 months of tortures. But he really felt 6 months. Real 6 months. 100%, like in reality. If a person feels that someone is beating him up for 9 hours in a dream, it's really 9 hours. If it's 500 years, it's 500 years in Auschwitz. Even though in reality, the soul was somewhere and the body is here. I'll give you another example. The Torah says, the person is not where his body is where his mind is. The body can be here and the mind somewhere else. A person can be laying on the beach, beautiful weather, the birds, you hear all the waves, supposed to be very relaxing. You put headphones on his head, what's happening now in Syria? Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, machine gun, Allahu Akbar, screaming, Muhammad died, Mustafa fell from the building, call ambulance. After 10 minutes of listening to all these women, children screaming, dying, police, that, shooting, he got a heart attack. And he's laying there in Acapulco on the beach, dead. So they come, examine him, heart attack. So they write in his death certificate, cause of death, getting 10 in Acapulco beach. Everybody knows that's not the reason. Where was he? In Syria. Where was his body? On the beach. But where was his neshama? Where was his mind? Over there. Now there's one more thing that I didn't say, and maybe we'll finish with that and I give you time for questions. We have conscious and subconscious. Conscious and subconscious. People give the credit to Sigmund Freud and to all the other psychologists, psychiatrists, etc., like they discover something about the mind of a person. This is big ignorance. Anything you heard in the last 500 years that was invented by this one and that one, I promise you come to me, I'll show it to you in the Torah. None of the things he spoke about is not in the Torah. God said to the Jew, watch your eyes from what you're seeing. Watch what you see. You're not allowed to look at dirty things. You're not allowed to look at not modest things. You're not allowed to look at idols. What's the problem? I look at the idol and I spit at him. What's the problem? What exactly is the problem? If you take a person now and you hypnotize him, let's take a person, 70 years old man, and we're hypnotizing him now. It's called regression. Did you ever hear about it? Regression? We take him now 20 years back in history. Now he's 70. He's an old man already. He walks like this with a cane. And he has a voice like an older person. Now we ask him to go to 1995. And we see that he speaks like a 50 years old man. Where are you? I'm in my store. A customer just came in. Live. He's speaking live now. He's not unconscious. He's like this. And he's speaking to you. Then you say, let's go back 30 years. Now he's 20 years old. Where are you? I'm a soldier in Russia. What are you doing? We're going that, this, that. He's describing what's happening to him. So let's go back 30 years. That's before he was born. All of a sudden, he begins to speak French. In a different accent, different voice. Sometimes a voice of a woman. We see a man now speaking in a voice of a woman in French. But this particular person doesn't know French. He's a Russian American. He doesn't have anything to do with French. What's your name? Napoleon. Where are you from? I'm from here. Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He's describing a different life. Then you continue to regress his soul. In one regression, they went 9 lives until the year 1100. 900 years, 9 lives. And a woman was speaking in an Irish accent, hiding in York, in a basement of the church with her 2 children when the Christians are burning the synagogues in York, live. She described where she's hiding, 900 years ago. What is it? What is all that? I'll give you another story and I will connect them. A person came out of the bus. His wife is watching him from the window. He's walking with his briefcase and he stares at the floor. He's walking. He comes up home, his wife asking him, Isaac, yeah, why are you staring at the floor for 10 minutes all the way from the bus stop to the house? He said, I didn't stare at the floor. She said, well, I've been following you. I saw you did not pick up your face from the floor. He said, I promise you, I did not look at the floor. So what were you thinking about? I was thinking about work. So you cannot tell me one thing that you saw on the floor? Nothing. I did not pay attention to the floor. 10 minutes later, she wants to hang a picture on the wall. So he said, wow, I don't have a nail. He said, oh, wait a minute, let me go get you a nail. He ran quickly to the street, next to the bus stop, he picked up a nail, he comes back home and he gives her the nail. She said, how did you know there's a nail over there? So when I walked, I saw the nail on the floor. But before I ask you, if you saw anything on the floor, you could not tell me anything. Now when I needed a nail, you remember there's a nail? That's exactly what it is. Conscious and subconscious. The way God divided the life of a person, it's all one soul. But there is conscious, things that we need for everyday's life, and there is a storage, like a back room, that stores all the information that it's not so important. He may be important one day, but we don't need all these trillions of pieces of information that we see every day. It stores and recorded automatically in the soul of a person. Therefore, a woman in Israel walks in the street with a bag. 2 robbers come with the motorcycles behind her. One is driving, one is grabbing her bag. She falls on the floor, a true story. She falls on the floor, people help her to get up, they gone with the bag. The police come, she doesn't know. She heard the voice of a motorcycle, that's it. The police interview her, argue, you had to give us some information. No, I didn't see. 1 person, 2, plate number, nothing. Now the Israeli police, they have a person that hypnotizes victim of robberies, of any crime. They take her to the police station in Bat Yam, and over there's a special parapsychologist. He tells her, look at this dot on the wall. and relax. Don't think about anything. 15 minutes, she stares on the dot until she dozes. She goes like this, and it begins to talk to her soul directly. Not through the body. No conscious. The conscious is eliminated right now. It's a direct connection into the subconscious, directly to the soul. And he asks her, where are you? At 2 o'clock. He knows when the robbery happened. She said, I'm walking now. I'm waiting for the bus to come. Tell me what you hear now. I hear a motorcycle coming. Before she couldn't tell anything. What's the plate number of this motorcycle? She gives the whole plate number. How many people sitting there? 2. Which describe how they look. The one ponytail, one with mustache, earring, this, leather jacket. She knows everything now. She can tell you now, while they hypnotize her, every beep that happened in the entire street, she remembers. Every person who walks on the street, she can describe. Every sign, every bus, every beep, everything is recorded in the soul of a person, not only in one lifetime, in all the reincarnation that the soul travels from one body to another, everything is recorded. For instance, one time there was a very heavy woman, 400 pounds, very heavy. She cannot stop eating. It's a psychological problem, nothing to do with hunger. She just finished double Mac. Right away, she wants to eat again and again and again, and nobody can stop it. Her life is already in a risk. So they decided to give her a special treatment through hypnosis. So it's you need a lot of patience because you have to go hour by hour, reverse, regression. So they went and went and went. It took months until they already traveled to her previous life. And guess what they found? She died in her previous life in the middle of the ocean. The boat hit a big piece of ice. Water came into the boat. All the bags of flowers and the rice, everything got wet. And they died from starvation. She died from starvation. She still has this mental problem now that she feels that she must eat. It's a mental disease now. It's an effect of what happened to her in previous life. The Torah say, take 3 kids now. Each one of them give him a bag of pretzels. Full bag of pretzel. 2 years old, 2 years old, 2 years old. You come to the first one, give me one. No, give me one. I give you the whole bag. One. You took one. Oh, he's on the floor, screaming, running. Police is on the way. The second one, you tell him, give me one. He gives you one, but you see, he doesn't like it. Give me another one. One more. He gives you. Third one, police is on the way. You come to the third one, he gives you one. Give me another one. He gives you another one. Give me another one. Gives you another one. Then he takes 2 or 3, gives you the whole bag. Leave me alone. He doesn't cry. Now we have to understand what's happening here. This is kids that don't know yet about wealth, how difficult it is to get a bag of pretzels, how many I have. Maybe I have 500 of them in a closet. They don't really know to be stingy or not, or to be generous. Nobody ever trained them. They didn't go to kindergarten. Nobody ever taught them to be generous, to be stingy, to save, not to save, to think about the future maybe you won't have. They don't know any of that. Why one is very generous and one is very stingy? The answer, as the Torah say, this is exactly how they died. This first one died, Mr. X in Manhattan, very stingy man, very wealthy. You beg him for charity, to save some souls, to save the poor people, whatever the cause is. He go crazy. No, how dare you asking me? In the end, he send you a check, $3, to leave him alone. And he complained. You see, I gave him money. The second one, he gives you, but not so much. And also, for 1 week, he doesn't sleep. And the third one, anything you need, anytime, come again, thank you for giving me the honor. What's happening here? This one died stingy, this one died so-so, and this one died very generous. The one who died generous, when God reincarnated him in life, he doesn't need to correct his generosity. He passed that test already. No more test. Everything is easy for him. His heart is not burning when he helps others. The one who is stingy and gives tzedakah, even though it's less than the generous one, for him it counts a bigger thing than the one. He gave 1,000,000, he gave 5,000. The one who gave 1,000,000, yeah, he doesn't care. 1,000,000 come, 1,000,000 goes. Very generous. Doesn't sit and cry. It's very happy. It actually makes him feel great. The one who gave 5,000 for 1 month, his whole hair became gray. Don't worry, it's not me. Yeah. So the point is, why is it? This is how you died, this is what you came to correct. Same thing, pride. Sometimes you find a secular person, doesn't have ego. Gives up, doesn't make big deal. Okay, no problem, I'm sorry, go. No problem. Sometimes, every little thing. Annoying, once again, ready to kill you. What's going on here? He died proud, he died humbled. Modesty. Girls, sometimes you see a very, very pretty girl that has all the reasons in the world to go and do a show off, very modest. Very always worried, nobody pays attention to her on the side, don't talk loud, everything perfect like God wants. Sometimes you find a horrible looking girl, all the time makes show off, noise, wearing all kinds of things. Doesn't make sense. What's going on? She died modest, she died not modest. She still have to correct. The image of the face of a person, you think it's coincidence? What is a Russian roulette? God said, okay, Moshe and Miriam were together, husband and wife. I have to send them a soul. Let's turn my Russian roulette, not Russian, a Jewish roulette. He turns it, beautiful face. Okay, yalla, take a pretty girl. Ugly, okay, ugly. It doesn't work that way. This is how it works. Now, husband and wife got together. Within 40 days, a baby will be formed, male or female. 40 days it takes. First 40 days, you can pray. You want smart, you want rich, you want healthy, you want a boy, you want a girl, you want anything you want. For 40 days, you can change by your prayers. After 40 days, it's sealed. Finished. The soul already entered. A part of the soul is already in this baby. Up to 40 days, it's still not a human being. In the 40th day, the pulse begin, the feelings begin, the nerve system is working. Everyone who does an abortion after 40 days, according to all opinions, is 100% murder. Jews, non-Jews, doctors, rabbis, everyone knows today. After 40 days, you're murdering an innocent little baby. Up to 40 days, there's big arguments. It's murder or not murder. Of course, it's not allowed, but there's a big argument if it's a murder or not. But after 40 days, there's no question. He has pause. You inject sugar to the water in the womb. The baby drinks double. In the 3rd month of the pregnancy, they injected sugar. Kids like Coca-Cola. What's the biggest mistake to do when you're a guest by someone's house and they have a baby? You give him Coca-Cola, that's it. The breastfeeding is gone. Doesn't want to eat anymore. If you want never to be invited to that house, make that mistake. Well, he tasted from Coca-Cola, so sweet, sugar. He doesn't want to drink regular milk. He doesn't know all the nutrition, all the vitamins is in the mother milk. Nothing can replace it 100%. So he wants junk. He wants to drink junk. So they injected sugar, he drinks double. That means he has taste. They pinched him on his nose in the 3rd month of the pregnancy. He moved his head. That means the nerve system is fully working. 2nd time, he moved his hand. 3rd time, 4th time, he moved his head. 5th time, before the needle touched his nose, he already moved his head. And the 3rd month of the pregnancy, not only the nerve system is working, his mind anticipates pain is coming. Let me protect myself. And he moved his head. 2 million Jewish babies were murdered in Israel from the beginning of Israel until now, after the 3rd month of the pregnancy. Take 2 million Jews, put them together 60 years ago until today. Now it's a 3rd generation. There will be another 50 million Jews in the world. The world has only 13.2 million Jews, that's it. And the whole world is around the Jews and around Israel with only 13 million. The Jews and the Chinese started in the same generations after the flood of Noah. The Jews, Shem, someone who hates Jews, his name is anti-Semite. Anti-Semite. Sem is the righteous son of Noah. And the other ones, the Chinese, came from Ham. So Shem is an uncle of the Chinese. Vayoled et Asini, the Torah say. So the Chinese and the Jews really started in the same generation, 4,200 years ago. Chinese are close to 2 billion people with no restriction on birth. And Jews, 13.2 million people, that's all. Why? Jews are subject to reward and punishment. Also assimilation. Chinese stay in the same place 4,200 years. They didn't move. They're still there in China. Jews were all over, moving from one country to the other, from one Holocaust to another pogrom. That's why the Jews looks like all the nations in the world, because the climate changing the genes. You have black Jews, you have blonde Jews. You have Yemenite Jews, you have Ethiopian Jews, you have Ashkenazi German and Polish Jews. Which, if you look at both of them, it's very hard to believe this is brothers. They all came from the same people. Very hard to know. But the Jews look like everyone because they were constantly in exile. Where does it say it in the Torah? Va'afitz etchem ba'amim, I will spread you in all the nations. It's another prophecy in the Torah. V'nish'artem b'metei mispar. Only few of you will survive. Why? Because you did not follow my Torah with love. Tachat asher lo avatem et Hashem Elokechem besimcha, with happiness. Not that you didn't keep the Torah. Only in the last 200 years you have secular Jews. Before that it was very, very rare to find one out of 100. 200 years ago, 220 years ago, everyone was religious, everywhere. Until Moshe Mendelssohn started the Haskalah movement. But before that, everywhere you go, the rabbi was the top authority, the Jewish Beit Din, the mikveh, everything. Nobody dared to do things that people do today. But in the last 200 years, you started to see what's happening. So 3,000 years we did keep. Everyone almost kept Shabbat. Everyone kept modesty. Look at pictures from 100 years ago. You see a woman like they dress today? You never find a picture like this. Nowhere in the world. So the answer is, so what's the problem? It's not that you didn't follow my Torah. You did. But instead of running and dancing on the street, I am a Jew, I'm the Son of God. From all the billions of people, He chose me. He gives me life of eternity. He told me that I'm very important to Him. I chose you from all the nation to be mine. Do not marry the Goyim. Do not imitate them. Do not, because you are important to me. And what did I do? Spit in His face and did everything in an ungrateful way, instead of thanking Him, to do everything that I can to look like a goy. Earring, ponytail, gel, tattoo, this, holes in the jeans, all kinds of boots, who knows, like the gondolas in Venice over there, you know, or belt like this, that. Everything he imitates from what he sees on the television. Everything Jewish makes him allergic. Today, the biggest Israeli singer in Israel, his name is Shlomo Artzi. 40 years is the top seller in records. Almost everybody knows him. I don't think you have one Israeli in the world doesn't know who I'm talking about. Today, they published on the news that on Thursday, he was in Tzfat for a weekend in a hotel, from Thursday to Sunday. So he was walking on Thursday morning, it was Rosh Chodesh Adar, and he heard singing from one of the synagogue of Tzfat. Which synagogue? The synagogue of the son of Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. His name is Rav Shmuel Eliyahu. It's all kippot srugot, the kind of religious who learns Torah very serious and at the same time goes to the army. He heard music, he went inside, he prayed with them shachrit, put kippah, and he stayed for 2 hours shiur. And they took pictures of him and they put it in a newspaper today. You should see the reaction of the secular Jews. I'm done with you. I'll never listen to you anymore. It's like he joined the Hamas. I'm telling you, you laugh. It's exactly the same reaction if you would hear on the news that he went to Lebanon and sat with the Mahshara and all the murderers and ate together breakfast with all the Hamas and all this Assad and Ahmadi. The same reaction. How did we go so low? Not only we forgot God, not only forgot the purpose of life, we became the enemies of ourselves. This is only from one reason: ignorance. Much more than evilness, it's ignorance that destroys us. Not one secular Jew in the world read the Torah once in his life. Not one secular Jew. Find me one that read the Torah from the beginning to the end and understand the meaning of the words. Forget about the secrets, Kabbalah, Midrashim, Gemara. Forget about all that. Just the meaning of the words, nobody knows. How do you give speeches against religion when you don't have any idea what religion is? How do you ask questions about God when you don't know who He is? How do you have all kinds of opinions when you never learn Aleph Bet of Judaism? How is it possible? How is it possible? Why don't you just come and be honest? I do not know anything and I don't want to change. I want to stay the way I am. Say the truth. Why you criticize the Torah and the rabbis and the Gemara and have so many questions? Why? To relax your conscience. It's very difficult to know that you live in a lie. Very difficult. The Jewish soul is suffering. So what's the way to relax the conscience? A conscience is like a radar. When the plane goes into a dangerous area, the radar is in the earpiece of the pilot. It says warning, 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 or it says designate. Somebody designate his missile on you. In 1 minute you'll be dead. So the radar detects things. The Jew has a conscience, matzpun. What's matzpun? Like tzafon, always show the right direction. The compass always show the north. God is making a system, a spiritual system in the heart of a Jew. Wake up, you live in a lie. Wake up, you're a thief. Wake up, you break the covenant that you made with me in Mount Sinai. You don't keep Shabbat. You made yourself a goy. Get up, return. Before it's going to be too late for you for eternity. Wake up. But what does the person do? Some people return. It bothers them. They saw the truth, they saw the CD, they listen to the CD. They know they live in a conflict. They don't enjoy the sins anymore because they know it's all a lie. And there's a heavy price to pay for this sin. It's not for free. You want to be with Christine? You think you enjoy? Wait until you see the bill when it's going to come to you. When you see the bill, you would curse the day you were born and the day you met her. When you know how much you're going to have to pay for it. When you eat shrimps, delicious, Rabbi. No problem, laugh. When the bill will come, believe me, you pull your hair off for every bite you took from this thing that your Creator told you not to touch. When you go and make scenes, when your wife walk half naked, when your children go to public school and learn that they came from the monkey and all kinds of nonsense over there, you think, everything is, business is great, booming. Look at the car I'm driving, $30,000 watch, gel in hair, beautiful wife, $5,000 suit, $10 million house. What's the problem, Rabbi? Look, you don't have what I have. No problem, my friend. You didn't read the Torah. What the Torah says. When I see a person that has few mitzvot that he has, obviously I have to pay him, God says in the Torah. So the last 3 verses in Parashat Vayetchanan, what does it say? I'm the strict God who pay my lovers, who keep my mitzvot for thousands of generations. Not one generation, thousands. And pay my enemies cash to their face to get rid of them. I will not delay their reward. I will pay them immediately. So let me ask you a question. Is it good to get paid according to the Torah right away in this temporary life? Of course not. It's a payment to get rid of you. It's like a father that has 10 sons and one of them is very bad. The other ones are good. But one is very, very bad. The father cannot stand him anymore. Drugs, problem, alcohol, come late at night, make noise. Very bad son. The father gave him few warnings, nothing helps. So the father come and say to him, come Itzik, come. Look, I'm leaving $10 million. Every one of my sons supposed to get $1 million. Come. Here is a check, $1 million. Take your money. Get out of my face. I don't want to see you. I'm done with you. This is a reward. Itzik goes out of the house with $1 million check in his house. This is a reward, or it's the biggest insult Your father kicked you out of the house, get, I don't want to see you. Now your father over here, no big deal. Anyway, he was busy with his businesses, he doesn't have time for you. But your real father, for eternity, he kicked you out of the life of eternity, and he paid you a nice house and few cars and some watches and vacations, and you're happy? Instead of crying for your situation? What can be a bigger ignorance than this? That's what happened to the people today. Nobody has an idea what we live for. Everyone wants to be financially stable. That's their dream. And healthy, of course. But almost nobody is healthy. And even the richest people in the world, they're really not financially stable. Because there's always problems. Business up, business down, the manager left, somebody stole, lawsuit, IRS, investigation, that. All kinds of problems. So what? So a person eats a little better. So he sits in a better chair in a plane. So he has a quiet car. So he has a nice watch. What does it give in life? It's all nonsense. It's all illusion. The real thing, the ticket for life of eternity, nobody cares about. I keep Shabbat barely. I eat kosher when it's around. Everyone who watch this DVD, I'm telling you, guarantee, I promise you, I'm not telling you stories. You don't believe me? I forward you the email. Every goy who watch this all over the world, Germany, Pakistan, Turkey, goyim, Muslims, more than 300 are converting as we speak from this CD. Going complete. One priest in Florida. One priest in Florida. Huh? Yeah, why not? If the guy is righteous, he wants to convert, why not?
Yeah?
Yeah, he doesn't convert because he met Miri.
No, because he heard your...
Yeah. You know what the Gemara say? One of the reasons that the Jews are spread all over the world, to teach the goyim who is God. And to help them to convert if they're serious. Problem today, that every basketball player that wants to play in Israel, so, you want to play? Okay, well, we need you to be an Israeli citizen. The only way to get the citizenship is to make you a Jew. Yalla, Rabbi, reform, come. Brit Milah, fuck, all of a sudden, all Siperi became Elisha. Elisha ben Avraham. Did he keep Shabbat? Never. He eats kosher? Never. He does anything Jewish? He doesn't even know anything. So who are you lying to? Yeah, you got a certificate that you can live in Israel legally. But the soul never... The Jewish soul never entered his body. It's all nonsense. Many of the conversions are fake because these goyim only do it for a reason, not for the truth. He wants to marry she wants to marry an Israeli guy, or he wants to marry a Jewish woman, and the only way to do it is by converting, so they pretend that they're becoming Jewish, but they really accepted to keep Shabbat. If a person doesn't accept to keep Shabbat, even a Jew that was born to a Jewish mother, according to the Torah, is excluded from Judaism completely until he make repentance and start keeping Shabbat. It says in 7 different places in Shulchan Aruch, Mechalel Shabbat areu kegoy lechol davar. One Jew that doesn't keep Shabbat is 100% like the goy in the eyes of God. He touched the wine, you cannot drink from it. He testified in a court, you cannot accept his testimony. I don't want to even continue. Let's not ruin the beautiful evening we had. But you understand the point or no? The point is that what makes a person Shomer Shabbat, what makes a person a Jew, the foundation, is the eternal covenant. What do we say in a Kiddush? Sometimes I see secular people make Kiddush. The television is on the background and all that, and the car is ready to go to the club, but at least they make a Kiddush. So what do they say in a Kiddush? They hold the cup, they read something from a book, and they don't listen to what they say. Sometimes 5 years like this. How can it be? 5 years you read something, and right a minute later you do the opposite? What are they saying? V'shamru bnei Israel et ha-Shabbat. And it's apart from the Torah. And the nation of Israel observed the Sabbath. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam brit olam. To make Shabbat for generations an eternal covenant. Eternal covenant. We have to faint when we hear this word. Between me and the nation of Israel, it's an eternal covenant. It's a sign for eternity that I created the world in 6 days, and in the 7th day I rested. Every Jew who will not keep the covenant has to be put to death by the Jewish court and has no share to the world to come. I'm cutting that soul out of my next world. And a Jew hears this and he says that, he reads it in a Kiddush or he reads it in a Torah and it doesn't make him faint? How can you not faint? If your teacher in high school told you a warning, no. You want to believe him, you don't want to believe him, fine. But if the creator of the world gave you a book and he said that's what you are subject to, if you continue to drive on Shabbat or smoke on Shabbat or talk on the phone or watch television or go to the mall, that's what you are subject to. How does it not make you shake? And I want to finish with 1 minute story of what happened to me in Los Angeles a few years ago. I had a seminar. I'm going to LA this Friday, Bezrat Hashem. And it's like a flashback of what happened a few years ago. I had a seminar with Rabbi Yitzhak Fanger. It's a very famous rabbi in Israel. And we are sitting now in a seminar in LA, in a hotel, Shabbat afternoon. I tell Rabbi Fanger, your lectures and your knowledge and your charisma, you don't need me to compliment. We all know who you are. You're great, Baruch Hashem. But I want to suggest one thing. I say to him, I say, to give a very soft lecture, it's not productive. Because if the Jews, the secular Jews who attend the lecture, it could be once in a lifetime opportunity to save their soul. You either did or not. Oh, that's it. They're going to die the way they are. So you have an opportunity. You have few Jews that do not understand what Shabbat is. They have no idea what are they doing. You have to shake them up to help them, not to put them down or, God forbid, anything wrong. To wake them up. You want to argue? Fine. Let's argue. No problem. I'll prove to you. I did it thousands of times. I'll do it one more time. It's no problem. But people who are not aware. So I told him, when you give, we have to speak about Shabbat. I speak in the English section. He speaks in the Hebrew section. I told him, Rabbi Yitzchak, 2 things I'm begging you to say in your lecture. 2 things about Shabbat. Now I know he's a very soft character. He's very nice. It's not his nature to be aggressive. Sometimes it's not your nature. It's very hard for you to change your nature. But I say I have to influence him to make a little change to his lecture. So I told him, you have to make sure that all the Jews who listens to you, all the Israelis who lives in LA, will understand that violating Shabbat means to cut your soul from the eternal life, from the afterlife. As the Torah says, "V'nichreta nefesh ha'im Yisrael," 12 times it repeats in the Torah. He looks at me like this, in shock. Like, well, how can I say such a thing? And then I say to him, you have to also make sure they understand that according to the Torah, violating Shabbat is a bigger sin than a murder. Nobody knows it. You have to make sure they understand it. And we know it based on the punishment. The punishment of a murderer is one, and the punishment of Mechalel Shabbat is worse according to the Torah. That shows what God thinks about violators of Shabbat. You have to make sure they understand these 2 points. He looks at me like this, begging me, please, what are you saying now? I cannot say, I never say it. So trust me, I take full responsibility. Say this and you see a big difference in your lecture. He said, okay, I'll try. He went to his lecture, I went to mine. Then we meet again, Melava Malka, Saturday night. This story is recorded. You don't believe me? I'll give you his cell phone. You call him to Israel. He's the #1 speaker in Israel. All days on television. Rabbi Yitzchak Fanger. You ask him if it's true or not. Saturday night, we sit in Melava Malka. They give the microphone to all the people. The seminar started Thursday afternoon. What do you think about the seminar so far? We still have 1 more day to go. But Saturday night, there's music, this. So people are saying it's beautiful. Wow, we're so happy we came. Okay. Everyone spoke a few minutes. Then one fancy lady got up. She got up and her husband said, my wife wants to say a few words. So she got the microphone. And she said, my husband is Shomer Shabbat already for a few years. And he's begging me to keep Shabbat. No success. My fun is on Shabbat to take the car to meet my friends. Every Shabbat we meet here, we meet there, we go with the car. He goes to shul, I meet my friends, this restaurant, that club. My father is a Moroccan Jew, religious all his life. Every week he calls me from Israel, my daughter, Shabbat, Shabbat, what are you waiting for, what are you waiting for? So between my husband and my father, I hear it for years already. I've been to many lectures of the most famous speakers, and I heard things about Shabbat. And I did not agree to become Shomer Shabbat. But two things that Rabbi Fanger said now in his lecture shocked me so much that I'm accepting right now to become Shomer Shabbat. The two things I told him to say, she repeated that, and he looked at me, and I promise you, it was that close from fainting. He looks at me, and he says, wow, what a siyata dishmaya you have. It's like a clear miracle. I said, no, it's the truth of the Torah. Every Jew must know the truth. That's why God wrote it in the Torah and not in a Kabbalah. What God didn't want every ordinary Jew to know, he hid in Kabbalah. Kabbalah, Midrashim, Talmud, very hard. Not everyone can understand. What he wanted every Jew to know until the end of all the generation, it's public information. It's written in the Torah. No one is allowed to say, don't show these parts of the Torah to the beginners, to the secular Jews. He will turn them off. My answer to this kind of nonsense is, you can only turn off someone that is on. Someone that is off all his life cannot get worse. He's already zero. He stays zero in his knowledge. What happened? What did you lose? But maybe 5, 6, 7, 10% of the others will wake up today. And tomorrow will keep Shabbat because they realize what they are subject to. And nobody can deny that the human nature, no matter who, Jews, non-Jews, everywhere, male, female, young, old, it doesn't matter. We all react better to warning, to threats, and to punishment. If the punishment comes with a motor vehicle subject to such and such penalty, right away you send the check. If they ask your kindness, it may take 7 years. But once they say you are subject to suspension of your license within 30 days, everyone send a check. On the highway, everyone drive 50, 55. Curse the day that they have to drive in this highway so slow. Car, fancy car, quiet, sport car, 55. Falling asleep, it's boring. Nothing is moving. Why is driving 55? Every mile or two is police, trooper hiding here, hiding there, this, arrest, tickets, insurance, license. People are afraid from the police. Announced now on television, tomorrow, strike. No police on the highway. And you see what's going to happen. Zoom, 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 zoom. Even the 90 years old. Why? No punishment today. We can do whatever we want. Isha yashar be'enav yaseh. That's it. What can we do? That's reality. That's the truth. You cannot argue with the truth. That's why God put punishments in this world. That's why there's reward and punishment. Chazal say, not me. Chazal, the punishment is the greatest gift for a person to encourage him to do the right thing. Same thing with children. Your little kid comes and he pushes his finger into the electric outlet. He can die. You tell him, no, Moishi, no. Next time, no. Doesn't help. He comes again. He laughs. He wants to push his finger in. You give him a little smack. He goes to his room. That's it. Never touch the outlet. What really saved his life? Being a strict father. This is what Hashem says in the Torah. I am your strict father. The same way a father is strict with his sons because he loves them, I am strict with you because I love you. Why? To reward you in your end. In another place in the Torah, to reward you and your descendants for eternity. Who say the Torah doesn't speak about Olam Haba? Only the ignorant Jews. Someone who knows Torah, there are few places clearly that God speaks about life of eternity. Clearly, without a doubt. What does it mean in Hebrew? La'ativ lecha ulevanecha ad olam. To reward you and your children for eternity. What does it mean eternity? In a divine language. 20 years? 70 years? Of course not. Every time the Torah speaks about the word life, is life of eternity. When a person is born, he begins to die. He's not alive. He's dying like a battery. 100%, 99, like the laptop. 67, 43, 7%, toot, toot, toot. 7% means an old person, walk like this. He doesn't hear, doesn't see, they help him, that's the battery is blinking. Any day can be the last day. When a person dies, he begins to die. Where does it say in the Torah that a secular Jew that doesn't want to live according to God's instruction and doesn't keep the laws of the Torah is considered 100% dead spiritually, not physically. Physically, even the dogs are alive. The goyim are alive. Everyone is alive physically. As long as you walk, you're alive. Spiritually, a person that doesn't keep Shabbat, Tefillah, modesty, kosher, is considered dead 100%. Where does it say it in the Tanakh? Who knows? Without the Tanakh, who am I to say? I cannot modify the Torah. It says like this, Chai Hashem, I swear in my name, God say. It's the highest form of speaking. No, nothing can be bigger guaranteed than this. Ki lo achpot bemot hamet. I'm not interested to execute the dead. Rather, I want him to return from his wicked way that he should live. What is this? What does it mean? How can you kill a dead? If a person is dead here, Moshe, get up, get up. He's dead already for 2 days. Well, how are you going to kill him again? He's dead. It's a divine language. There's no mistakes. I'm not interested to execute the dead. I want him to return from his bad way, from his wicked way, that he should live. Which means right now he's dead. I want him to return, to make tshuva, that he should live. And another place he said in the Torah, you should keep my mitzvot and follow my ways that you should live. What do you mean that you should live? I've been living for 40 years. Not listening to you. What, I'm not alive now? Who God is speaking to? To the walls? To us. So he said to us, I want you to listen to me and follow my mitzvot that you should live. It means that right now if we don't keep, what are we? Dead. But we talk, we walk, we drive a car, we do things, no? No. That's the dogs also have. That's not life. Life, it means you're connected to your Creator. You're listening to Him. You're not ungrateful to Him. You appreciate everything He gives you. You're honest, you're decent, you're modest. You learn Torah. You raise your children in the right way. That's life. Living like doing whatever you want, like another dog or a cow or a leopard, that's life. If God wanted you to live like this, and make you a leopard or an eagle, beautiful life, all over the world in 1 hour, for free. No first class, $5,000 a ticket and standing 3 hours in security and sweat. Eagle, America, California, San Francisco, tomorrow Israel. No gas, no security, no tolls, no nothing. If we think that we came here to live and to eat and to have children like the monkeys, we are wrong. If that was the purpose of life, God would make us chimpanzees. Doesn't need any, live in a safari, throw coconut, play with your 15 female. You don't have to buy them drink, to put a show, to pretend you're rich. You don't have to do all this show. She come, she move her tail, you move your tail, that's it. The lion in the Bronx Zoo. 20 years, people take picture of him, they bring him the food, getting tender, doesn't have any problem, no mortgage, no jail, no none, everything, life is great. What can be better than this? Why to be a person? Why raise children, this, marriage, divorce, problem, gray hair? You saw a chimpanzee bald? You ever saw a chimpanzee with gray hair? Does a chimpanzee need life-saving? CDs. One day maybe he's going to go to pension. One guy came to me in the yeshiva. I said, I have to leave the yeshiva. I said, well, what's the problem? It's not good for you? He'll say, it's great here. You're not enjoying? I enjoy every minute, but I have to think about my future. He said, I'm 22. I don't have $1. I'm here already 2 years. I'm learning Torah. Tomorrow I'm going to meet a girl. and I have to get engaged, to get married. I don't have even money to buy her a ring. Nevertheless, a car, a house. How am I going to raise children one day? I have to think about my future. I got to get a job. So I told him, let me ask you a question. What makes you think you're ever going to get married? So what do you mean? Don't curse me. God is going to take care of me. He's making a matchmaking, no? Soulmates. I say, okay, let's say you get married. What makes you think you're going to have children? Shh, don't open your mouth. God's going to get me kids. Trust him. I say, okay, so you trust Hashem to find you a wife. You trust Hashem to give you children, but you don't trust Hashem to send you food for your wife and your children? What happened here? You trust what you want, what you don't like, you don't trust. You either trust Hashem or you don't. Don't say this yes, this no. This yes, this no. Doesn't work that way. The one who puts you here is responsible to feed you. Is responsible to give you a bed to sleep and a place to live and food for your children. Tinok ba velachmo beyado. Every baby is born with his own budget. You're not feeding your children. You're not. You know how many kids they kill in abortions because they didn't plan them? Oh, it cost $1 million to raise a kid in America, Rabbi. You think you're raising the children? Hashem sent every baby with his own budget. The opposite. Sometimes if you're a poor person and you have one kid, you're still poor. Another kid, you're still poor. Another kid, you're still poor. You say, no more 4 child. It's too much. You cannot afford it. Maybe the 4th one should be Bill Gates. And if he will be a wealthy neshama that God wants him, you're going to benefit from your son, not the other way around. Because a baby came to the world that God wants him to be a billionaire from a young age. You're starting to make money thanks to him. You're not feeding him. He's feeding you, this baby. People don't know the truth. So they kill the baby in abortion because they're afraid maybe it's going to be another $500 food every month. In reality, they kill themselves. Everything is ignorance.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Does that mean everybody should quit their job and sit around and go feeding?
No, not everyone is built to sit and learn Torah all their life. No, it's depend on the brain, depend how sharp it is, depend on many things. The goal of every male Jew should be that I have to learn, the more the better. Now, if a person comes and learns when he's young, he learns 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and things work well, he has what to eat, he has a place to, everything is fine. What reason he has to leave the Torah? He's growing, he's becoming bigger and bigger. One day he's going to be a big, important rabbi. The world needs him. So do you think that because he's listening to God and learning Torah, because of that, God will take away his food? Who can think such a thing? Only the biggest kofrim in history. Even the Arabs don't think like this. The Christians don't think like this. We, the children of God, the chosen people, think that we listen to our Father in heaven and for that he's going to hurt us? How can it be? So let me tell you a story. There used to be Rabbi Shach, who was the leader of the religious world. Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. Not only Ashkenazim. He was Ashkenazi, but he started Shas for the Sfaradim in the Knesset. He was Rosh Yeshivat Ponovich. I think he passed away 106 years old. Rav Shach, when he was a teenager, you know what was his bar mitzvah? Do you know how poor he was? His bar mitzvah was his mother collected money and sent him a pair of tefillin to yeshiva, and that's it. Not like today, $500,000 bar mitzvah. I was in Englewood this Shabbat. There was a rabbi there. He told me about one Syrian wealthy Jew from Brooklyn. You probably all know who it is. He took a plane from El Al, 500 people, friends and family. He paid tickets for all of them. He took them to Israel, to a fancy hotel. More than $1 million bar mitzvah to his son. You know how many yeshivot you can support for how many years with $1 million of a stupid party? Who says that you have permission to burn $1 million when half of the world is dying from starvation? Jewish people that cannot pay for food. People don't think to use their money right. You know, every one of these CD, it's only cost $1. Every 10 Jews that you give them, at least 2, 3 will become religious. So for $10, you can save 3 souls for eternity. What's better, to make a $1 million bar mitzvah or to make 100,000 Jews religious with this money? What's a better investment? To attract ayin hara and jealousy from people, or to do what God really wants you to do. But when it comes to nonsense, the wealthy people are very generous. When it comes to eternity, they're very foolish sometimes. Something doesn't work. There's no way to explain it. So Rav Shach was a teenager. He was in yeshiva that they were so poor, he didn't have a bed. No bed. In a freezing winter of Russia, he sleeps on the floor, freezing floor. On the floor. No mattress, nothing. After a few months, he was the youngest person in yeshiva. All the older people got themselves bed, and the young ones were sleeping on the floor. So it was too difficult for him to sleep on the floor. He came to the Rosh Yeshiva and said, Rabbi, I'm leaving tomorrow the yeshiva. My uncle is a businessman. He doesn't have children. He sent me a letter that he needs me in his factory. He's going to teach me to run the world. He wants to retire, and everything eventually will be mine. A big business. And I don't even have a bed here, so I'm going to learn over there. So the rabbi told him, you want to leave the Torah for business? Chaval, you have such a bright brain. So the next day, one woman, her husband died. She was a widow. She just finished the shiva. She has the mattress of her husband. So she was coming. He was standing outside with a bag. He packed his bag. He was ready to leave the yeshiva. She came with a mattress. That's a true story. Look how it works. She came. She's grabbing a mattress. An older woman. He comes to her and says, can I help you, ma'am? She said, I want to donate this mattress to yeshiva. Someone told me that not everyone has a mattress. I don't need it anymore. My husband died. So he said to her, really, you want to give this mattress? I'm one of the people who don't have a mattress. She said, here, it's yours. My gift to you. She gave him the mattress. He was standing there. He was ready to leave to the train station. He was on the way out. He was standing with the mattress and he said, why, a minute before I left the yeshiva, God sent me a mattress. For months I was here, no mattress came. What does God telling me? Eliezer, make a U-turn and go right back into the yeshiva. Your claim is that you don't have a mattress? No more excuses. I got you for a mattress. 90 years later. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused with another story. Few years later, he was a rabbi in Israel, an old man. Very heavy rain in Israel, pouring rain. He comes to one of the students in the yeshiva, please take me to the cemetery, in the middle of the day. He takes an umbrella, he gets in a car, and I go to the cemetery. He said to the driver, wait here, I'm going to pray by someone's grave. Pouring rain. The guy said to him, Rabbi, maybe we'll return tomorrow. He said, no, today it's a yahrzeit. He goes in, he comes back all soaking wet. He said to him, Rabbi, it was so urgent today in such pouring rain. He told him, you know me, right? I'm Rabbi Shach, Rosh Yeshivat Ponovich. All my life I learned Torah. You know, all my Torah I owe to this woman. I was already on the way to be a businessman. If she wouldn't come with the mattress that morning, he wouldn't be sitting here with me. Now it's a yahrzeit. What can I do? I have to go and read Tehillim by her grave. You understand? So the answer that I have to you is, everyone has to dream and to hope and to try to learn Torah. And if he really wants, he's going to be able to learn Torah. It needs a lot of compromises. You have to give up. You have to put efforts. You have to give up A, B, C, D, things that other people can afford. You may not be able to afford. But you have to decide, do I want to do what God wants me to do, or I want to enjoy with my stomach and my delicious lifestyle? Who do I want? I want to be like another guy who came to eat and to drink and to enjoy, or I came to earn life of eternity. If a person does what Hashem wants him, everything will work out for him. Also with Parnassah. I didn't see one rabbi in the world that starved. They all have cars and houses and everything, and they live comfortable. And some of them are multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. You know why? Because they sell the... Look at Rav Ovadia Yosef. He sells 1 million books a year. It's enough. He takes $4 or $5 on every book. It's already 5 million. Just from the books that he sells. And he doesn't even touch it. He writes, they publish for him, they sell for him, distribution. Just every book that sold, every Chevedat, every this, every Siddur in his name, maybe 30, 40 different books. Thousands of books he sells every week, and he gets some X amount of income from every book. You're right, it's enough to be a millionaire. If Hashem wants, He'll make you rich, whether you learn, whether you don't learn, it's all up to Him. I want to thank again to Yael. Thank you all of you to stay for so long. Please take advantage on the free CDs before I change my mind. And make sure if you have other friends that are not keeping and they are not aware of the Torah, to make sure to give them. It's all right here in Hebrew and in English. Thank you very much.